everybody. Welcome to Media Club. We're going to be doing a What You Been Playing and Watching today. I'm your host, Alec Bobko. I'm joined by Austin.
Hi, that's me. Hello.
And Chris.
AKA RoboPack 92 was good.
Oh, we're flexing? I'm flexing. All right.
That's my thing. Damn, look at them bicep. Do that again.
That's all I have. That's all I have is biceps. I weigh nothing.
Look at you, baby. Look at you. I see
right.
you. Ooh.
Please stop. Okay.
So,
what are we talking about? Video games.
I'm all a flutter right now.
Video games, TV shows, movies, content we've been watching, but before we get into like our individual ones, a game that we've actually all played was Deathloop. So, Austin, I know you're pretty early on still. Why don't you give us your kind of early impressions?
I like it. I like it a lot, and I think in my mind, because I don't love it, and I'm only like
a lot.
I'm only like I didn't know what you were saying. I thought you were glitching for a second. I'm only like 5 to 7 hours in, so like I'm really just kind of doing the repetition thing a lot. And I still haven't learned everything. I haven't played it in a few days, but I still haven't learned like the way the game works entirely yet. With,
Have you
like,
gotten to the
your
point where you
loadout
can? Have you gotten to the point where you can keep things like
and
between loops?
I don't remember what that's called, but yes, I have that.
I don't remember what it's called either.
Residuum, I think.
Sure, that sounds right.
That's the stuff you need to buy it. There's like an ability. There's a whole mission where you have to go start up this machine that allows you to keep the stuff that you've. Yeah.
If I have done that, and now I can absorb those glowy objects. Where at first I was like, "What the hell is the point?"
I looked at those for like an hour trying to figure out. I was like, "There's a significance here. What does it do?"
I was just smacking them. I'd be like, I was like, "Oh, I bet you they explode." So I could bring in and went boom, and then people were like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh shit!"
Like, oh.
Okay, but overall, like I like the game. I like how they're organically putting in like. Back in the day when you're playing video games, you fail at a level, you just go back in, you're like, now I know not to do that. But now they're kind of organically putting that into the game itself, and that's a mechanic for the game, and I really like that. I do think the AI is a little weak. I know that's been said about a lot of this game, but that doesn't bother me too much. I agree with it. It doesn't take me out of the experience at all. My most favorite thing about it is that it lets Arcane shine, because it's just get like this style, this type of IP that they're working with really has eyes on it, and I'm like, oh my god, thank you Arcane, you deserve this, great job. So that's where I'm at. I like the game, I don't love it, but I'm also early on. So
yeah. So just to piggyback off of that, it's like if you've ever played a Dishonored game, you know that they say that you can play any way that you want, but they kind of coerce you more into stealth because you get the better outcomes that way. But then, they say you can play any way you want, but really, it's like, it's more of a stealth game.
Yeah.
But the thing I love about Deathloop is that they don't penalize you for going in guns blazing. Like,
in fact, they almost encourage it a little more in this game
because the AI is not the smartest. So it's almost a lot easier to sneak up on people.
No, but that almost feels like an intentional choice.
Right.
To where it allows you to go either guns blazing or go super stealthy and it not like really detract from that in either direction. Like I mean I've definitely like gone guns blazing in a few times and paid for it too. Like they're not total pushovers either.
I think it's more so like my first like 3 or 4 times in an environment, I'm sneaking like crazy. Like I am just like I am not doing this. But then you get to a point where like I know this is gonna happen if I do this, blah blah blah. I can shoot that guy. There's no one around them. Doesn't matter. Boom. You can just do whatever. But I feel like the first few runs, if you will. I know it's not the same thing, but you go in there and you're just like I am not making a peep. But after that, once you learn the level, you kind of go more guns blazing.
My first couple loops. I was terrified of notifying anybody where I was or what I was doing, and it wasn't until I picked up like a couple better guns, couple abilities, where I was like, all right, I'm just gonna fuck around now, like whatever. It does a great job of kind of guiding you into learning the environments more. I think not having a lot of abilities at the beginning or like great guns or anything kind of forced me to learn a bunch of like how different people would interact at at different times of the day and really learn all the maps and that sort of thing. And it's like I feel like I know all the areas like fairly well, and even though like also every time I still learn something new every time I go back through it and everything. Granted, I'm not much farther than than Austin is either. I'm probably 8 or 9 hours in as opposed to like 5 or 6. Um, I've only killed like 1 or 2 of the prime targets or whatever they're called. Unfortunately, I started playing
Visionaries. Yeah.
Deathloop like Unfortunately, I started playing Deathloop like the week before the Halo flight started, and that completely took over my life.
Yep.
So I'm gonna have a little bit of a
Excel.
learning curve going back into it. Um,
I just want to say real quick on weapons.
yep.
I don't snipe in games. I want a long range weapon in this game every time I go in there. So I will be using Residuum on that eventually. But for some reason, I feel so much better if I have that like rifle, and it helps.
Uh, what's the name of like the area of the island where your house is?
Updam, something
Dom.
like that.
Updom.
Updam.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a mission you can get in Updom. I believe it's either in the morning or afternoon. To where when you go in there, they'll be like, "Hey, come to the plaza, and we have a gift for you."
Isn't that,
And
that really dangerous area? The plaza? It's like don't go
The,
in here, or
the
is it?
library. Yeah.
it's past that.
Okay.
It's on the other side. It's actually just outside of Cole's apartment. Um, his name's Cole, right? I can't remember. That's just it. Huh?
Colt.
Colt.
Colt. Thank you.
Colt. Yeah.
I was close. Um, and so if you go to the plaza, there's like this big like present in the area, and I'll because you said you want a sniper rifle. This is not a big mission. I'm gonna spoil this for you real fast. But if you go and try and open the present, you get killed. Or at the least you get shot at. But if you go into one of the buildings that's kind of like in front of where the present is, you can see the sniper that kills you, and you can take their sniper. It's like the highest rated like rarity of sniper that you can find in the game, and so that's there if you want a long range weapon, and it's excellent. And I've used that on a couple of the other visionaries. It's excellent.
100%. I will totally go for that. And the fact that this game like puts that in, like it organically weaves that into this game that
Mm.
way, where it's like, ooh, present dead, and you're like,
Yeah,
who shot me? Like what just
right.
happened? And then you're like, that had
Yeah.
to be long range. I love long range. I'm figuring this out immediately. Like I love that a lot.
Yep.
I discovered it on accident because I saw the president. And I was like, hold on, there's a door open over here first, and then I went in and I saw like the person like with the rifle there, and
Oh,
I snuck up
that's
on him, and
cool.
they dropped, and I went, oh, sick, let's go! Like I never went to the present first, so I didn't die, but I was like, you probably die if you go if you go take
Mhm.
this present,
So
which was cool. I also found a silent. I kind of broke my run of the game, if I'm honest.
mhm.
Um, there's a silenced pistol that you can get from one of the visionaries
Oh yeah,
or like it's in his lab, right? I
I
found it
believe so.
before.
Yeah.
I found it on the run, like right before. You can hold on to you can keep items. So when I completed that mission, I had it in my inventory, and so I kept that instead of the one it wants you to keep.
Mhm.
And that thing is broken. It's a silenced version of the starter SMG that you get at the very beginning of the game.
Oh
And
yeah,
so anytime you fire it, nobody hears it.
that's
I've
cool.
completely broken the game. Like it's the most overpowered
Mhm.
shit to have right at the start. I don't think I was supposed to find it that early. It's hilarious that I
See,
did. And
I had.
yeah. So now I'm a stealth master because of it.
Mhm. See, I actually had a weapon like that from Juliana that invaded my game.
Oh,
Uh,
sick.
she she had it was a SMG, kind of like the
Mhm.
scorpion looking gun, but
Mhm.
it was what was it, epic, so like the purple level,
Yeah,
and the
I think it
effect
might be
that
the
it
same
had
one.
on it, no, it's a different. It didn't have the silencer. The effect that it had
Oh,
on
okay.
it was, um, every time you do damage to enemies, you regain health.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's say I immediately, like after I, before I died, that I infused that so quick,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
it saved me so many times. Like, oh
So I
I
think
do
I
want
learned
to.
real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
You need to infuse the abilities. Like you need to
Yes.
get those.
oh
Like
yeah, I did
if you want
that.
to
Yeah.
complete the run,
Guns you can find again. Guns are
Yes.
perpetual, but abilities are randomized. So if you find a good ability, hold on to that.
So real quick, before I say we can move on to abilities. The two that I use pretty much throughout the game, Shift and Nexus.
I only have shift so far.
So basically, Shift is the one where you can teleport, and then Nexus is the one where you can tie enemies together.
Cool.
So I would
I've
use.
got both of those. I just haven't used
Mhm.
Nexus all that much.
Nexus is
I have a second one. I don't remember which one I picked up though. I didn't use it very much because
Havoc
Shift
was
is
I used
amazing.
that. Yeah, so Shift is great because you can use it for stealth or just like a quick getaway. But
So
then
speaking of getaway, so I've had one person ever invade my game, and that was our very own brother Grimbo. Uh, and it was like I had just gotten Shift too. Like I went into the game or whatever, killed the guy,
Mhm.
completed it, ran out. And as I'm leaving the thing, I hear the "Boop, the gates are locked. Juliana's here. I was like, shit. I was like, fucking Grimbo's here. I knew he was gonna come and get me. And so he's just hiding out by the satellite that he got to fix. And I just grabbed Shift, so I was like, I'm not even gonna kill him. I'm just gonna get the fuck out of here. So I unlocked it, and
Yep.
I just hauled ass back to back to the start, and he didn't kill me. And like I saw my Twitter notifications pop up when Grimbo was like, "Damn, Rumble Pack's Wiley." I was like,
I
It's fine.
yeah, there's a couple times I did just run away because like I haven't infused like a weapon or an ability yet, and it's like I just need
yeah,
to get away. Like unlocked it from afar, and
yeah. I just got like a
um
really rad shotgun too, so I was like, no, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
yeah. Okay, so
Yeah,
I think
that was
that's
cool.
any
So something I wanted to circle
yeah.
back around real quick though, and this is just kind of a cool shout out to something that Austin said earlier, just as far as like he kind of called them runs, and I think this game is a little more linear than Hades is, but just the way that they work the mechanics of the game into the actual story itself reminds me a lot of playing Hades, where um, of course you're trying to escape hell, and it's a roguelike, so the idea that if you lose, you restart without anything. That's actually just part of the narrative of that game, and the way that they work that in is extremely similar in a lot of ways that they do it in Deathloop. And I just think that's really really cool when something's not just like video gaming for video gaming's sake. Like this is how the game works, but that's also part of the narrative of it, and that's really cool. I like that a lot.
I have one clarifying question. You said that like you just found a good gun and you just hightailed it out of there. Like, is that something I should do? If I find something I want, I should just leave with it. Like even
Uh,
before like establishing other things. Like if I find something I want,
Mhm.
I should just be like, "Yep, I'm leaving."
I
Not
wouldn't.
necessarily. I hightailed it out of there because I knew that Bo had played more than me, and I just had I just got shift like on that run, so I hadn't been able to infuse it yet, and I was like, no no no, I know how useful shift is. I want to hold on to this one.
Mhm.
I didn't care about the gun so much as I did the ability, and I was like, I don't want to go through that fucking arcade again right now until I can come back later. Uh, so I was just like, I'm not challenging it. I'm just gonna run so I can keep it and keep going.
Yeah, so
So
sometimes
I
it
mean,
is
not necessarily.
yeah, because it's
Not
like
for
some
guns, I'd say. For if you find good abilities or upgrades or whatever, though, hold on to those.
agreed. Yep. Something I did want to mention, like for me, kind of like I was kind of at the stage where Austin was like not quite really in love with the game, but like I've still like really liked it. But
Mhm. Super
to
intrigued
me,
mostly.
yeah. Um, but then there was just that point where it's like I'm infusing things, I'm getting the loadout, like working the loadout to like get it to where I want, and then there's just one loop where it just clicked for me, and it was just great. Like it was probably about yeah that like 4 to like 6 hour mark was somewhere in that
Mhm.
where it just finally clicked for me, and then it was working on getting my loadout, finding like when the visionaries are where, and then I actually not to like toot my own horn or anything, but I actually figured out the perfect loop before the game just straight up tells you. So and
Excellent.
then
Wait, so the game does tell you. Like I know you told me
Yes.
that
yes,
before in the past, but I didn't know how like
so
straightforward it would
you're
be.
the
And when
leads
does that
if
happen?
you
Like what do you have to sorry, what do you have to do for it to tell you without going spoilery?
basically just follow the leads.
Okay. So just follow the main quest, if you will.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it a bit more of a linear game than something like Hades and that sort of thing, where
Mm.
there is a very clear and defined like story path.
Like
But
it
I know
it
some people are
branches
kind of
out,
disappointed that it
yes.
just yeah,
It
and I know
branches
some
out,
people
but
are
then
kind
it
of
comes
disappointed
back
that it
basically.
Mhm.
yeah, I know some people are kind of disappointed that it sort of just kind of flat out tells you is like, hey, this is what you have to do in order to win the game. But I I don't mind it. I like linear games. Like that doesn't bother
Same.
me.
There's a lot of things going on in the game, so I can like for me, I'm struggling. Like I don't have a rhythm yet. I'm like, what am I doing? Is my
And
loadout
you'll
good? Probably not. Here I go.
eventually
And then
find it.
sometimes I just forget. I'm like, oh, I didn't even touch my loadout. Cool. I'm going in
I've
with the
also been
pistol.
playing on
Got it.
PC, and I've had lots of performance issues. Um,
Which is
and
odd,
I
right?
and my PC's no pushover either. Like I mean, I shouldn't be having these issues. It's just pretty poorly optimized, and I've heard it's gotten better since the last time I
It's
played. But there's just little things here and there to where I'm sitting there. I'm like, this is a really great game and something super unique, and I'm really enjoying it. The story's cool, the performances are great, like the actual gameplay's fun. I don't know if I would give it a 10. Like that's kind of where I'm at, but maybe I will once I finish it. Who knows? I'm really enjoying it right now. I still think it's a solid 9. Like I don't want. I'm not trying to shit on the game. I don't think it's bad.
I mean,
Uh,
that's what being a critic is. Like it's just
yeah,
you give it 10, I
mhm.
give it an 8, kind of thing. Whatever.
exactly. But for me personally, it's I'm not gonna put it next to like God of War. You know,
Different type of game though, honestly. But
sure,
yeah.
but I mean, yeah, it's still I fucking love it. It's awesome. I
Mhm.
can't wait to finish
It's
it.
a GOTY contender for me. So,
Rudy.
Yeah, I could. It'll be in the conversation for sure.
real quick, I just want to mention this. We're moving on from Deathloop. I guess I should say, anybody, any final thoughts?
Cool game.
I'm stoked to finish it. I will be reaching out to you if I get more confused. Both of
Rad
you.
soundtrack.
Oh, great soundtrack! Please put it on Spotify, please.
Oh yeah, for real.
Um, I just want to quick mention that this is a while back before Deathloop came out, but I did finish Scarlet Nexus, and I really wish Bo was here because this game, it's like, yes, it's, if you love anime, you'll love this game. But the thing that
Mm,
I did not realize, like I heard it had like support conversations and all that, but it's basically hack and slash gameplay. And then after you finish the mission, you get these standby phases, which are basically like Fire Emblem, like support chats and support talks,
gotcha. Yeah.
which is great because you get like, you level up the friendships or your links, and
Have you played
that
Octopath? Octopath Traveler?
I played a
Is it
little bit,
okay? Because there's a
not too
similar thing
much
in
of it.
that I really liked. I really enjoyed.
Mhm. But like basically you level up your relationships in the game, and you get better effects that they can do. Like I think like the level 2 one for all of them is like they can like block damage for you at certain points. Um, but the coolest part of the that hack and slash gameplay is basically because you're all like, it's a futuristic game or a futuristic setting, and you're all like linked in the brain. You can like use your team's powers as well as your own.
Don't
So
mind me. It got real dark outside.
um
Need to close my blinds.
but what was cool about that is, so like you could be using your like telekinesis, and then you can borrow or use your teammates like firepower, so your all your attacks have fire infused with them now.
Cool.
um but then like, so like there's other ones like teleportation's one, clairvoyance is another. So like what's really cool is like you'll see like your that teammate's like face flash on the screen, and then that'll be like, oh, if I hit dodge at this time, you'll do a perfect dodge, and then you can get in some counter attacks. um the coolest part though is because there's two different stories. Yeah, there's two main characters. I've only played the male uh story so far, but you get to use, at a certain point in the game, you get to use everybody that's on both teams. And there's an upgrade that you can get, because normally you can just use one power at a time, but there's an upgrade where you can use like, I think up to 3 at a time. So it's like basically combined, the I think one of mine was I combined fire, duplication, and then like the clairvoyance. So I was just dodging everything. I had fire added to my attacks, and I had like a clone of me, so I was dealing double damage. So it
My
is just
God.
insane the amount
That's
of like
awesome.
combos and like the stuff you can do once you're like fully upgraded. And yes, it is just anime nonsense, but the gameplay feels so good. So if you find Scarlet Nexus on sale, I'd highly recommend it.
This is
Noted.
kind of like outdated terminology in a way, but it seems a lot like if it would have released in like January, it might have popped off like way more.
Yeah.
but that's just me. I know that because like next year, like it looks like February and March are like really busy or something like that. But whatever, you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. So, Chris, how
Oh,
about you?
how sorry,
Oh,
how
what?
long is the game?
How long? I don't think I between 20 and 30 hours, I'd say, depending on how many. Like, I did barely any like side missions, and I think I was closer to like 20 to 25.
That's not
It's
terrible.
not bad for a JRPG.
Yeah.
But like I said, I did
Remember,
like no side missions at all. I just did the
sure.
main lines.
Sure.
You do like 25 hours of Persona, and you're like, I haven't even met half of these characters.
Exactly.
You just finished the tutorial.
This is more of a. It's not really much of a JRPG, more of a hack and slash.
Sure.
An action
So
RPG kind of thing, maybe.
yeah, yeah.
Other
Think kind of like
stats.
a Bayonetta, like Devil May Cry, kind of.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. So
I believe they
Chris,
call
what?
it. I believe they've subgenred those into. I think they call them stylish action games.
Ooh.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, this is very stylish.
So like platinum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
The
Platinum, Capcom. Yeah.
genre platinum. I mean,
Yeah.
But it's kind of like how everything's a From Software game these days.
Right.
sure. Implementing that.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. Well, how about you? What's one thing you've been watching or playing?
Halo. Sorry.
Yes. Yes. Shocker. Shocker. I've been playing lots of Halo. Um, we did do a Infinite Flight impressions video here on Waypoint. So if you haven't watched that, please go check it out. We'll get more into the nitty gritty, and I'm not gonna retread too much of that. Other than that, I think that if they manage to even just put out like a halfway decent campaign, it'll still be one of the best Halo games in the series because the multiplayer is that good. In fact, it's what I just remembered I do have another game that I can add to the list of things that I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to work that into this one segment here. Um,
Go
but
for it.
I'm really fucking impressed with how well Halo Infinite plays already. And I mean, I know I had a delay and everything. I don't. People are like they've had like 8 years to work on it. That's not how video games work. It's been closer to like 4 or 5. With the delay, like chill. Um, but I mean, they could release multiplayer today, and it would be a smash hit, like it just immediately because of how fucking great it is. I'm so
Mhm.
impressed by it. And another thing that I played, and I played this last night, was I played the beta for Battlefield 2042. Man, it sucks.
I downloaded it. I haven't played it yet.
I
That is
didn't
not
like
what I
it
expected.
at all.
Is that like the general consensus, or
I know a few people that I've been watching aren't super crazy about it. I also have some friends who are. I actually jumped in with Chase and Hellsman Gaming last night for a bit, and I know they're much higher on it than I am. But I was also chilling with like Snowbike Mike and Maddock Jr. and Washburn and all them, and they don't like it at all. Um, and I don't either. It's and maybe it's just the thing of going from because I've essentially the only thing I played lately are these two like previews of games, but going from Halo Infinite's extremely well polished and well designed and fun to play and great preview to Battlefield 2042's clunky, buggy mess of a video game that they've put out. And it's not just that it's super unpolished. Like I can forgive a beta for not being polished,
Mm-hmm.
but even putting that aside, some of the design decisions that they made in there are not good. Um,
That
they've
game comes
moved
out in
to
a
like
month.
I know that's what's worrying. They've moved to more like Overwatch slash Call of Duty style of operators. So everyone plays like a character, like in Rainbow Six, right? And you can adjust loadouts and things from there. But that also means that the enemy team looks exactly like you do. There's outside of the enemy's name being orange instead of blue, there's no way to tell if they're on your side or not. Like even the uniform colors are the same. So I've shot at teammates a few times, and I do believe that there is friendly fire in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Everything just feels really rough around the edges. it's the gunplay is missing a lot of the weight and snappiness and oomph that the Battlefield series usually has, and that's something that I kind of expected them at least to be in a good place at this point. Because it's like I like Battlefield a lot. Um, I played the ever loving shit out of Battlefield 1 when that came out. I played that for years, and I love Battlefield 4 as well and 3. So it's like it's not like I'm just like it's not as good as Halo. Like I like Battlefield, and this is not up to Battlefield standards. And it's like I know they just delayed it. It was supposed to come out this month. I can't even imagine what that game would have looked like if it came out next week like it was supposed to. Um, but even next month, it should be delayed until the spring, and it just needs more time in the oven. It's not there yet. And then
Didn't the
they're
same
gonna
thing
launch
happen
it.
with 5?
Yeah, 5 wasn't good either. I think I played 5 once and said nope. Um, so and what's sad is that they pulled a lot of the team off of the Star Wars team, like from Battlefront, to go work on 2042 and make sure that it's good. And that's also just kind of frustrating because Battlefront lost its support, so that way they could go fix Battlefield, and they haven't fixed Battlefield yet. Um, and the fact that they said no, 1 more month is fine. We're gonna launch next to fucking Call of Duty and Halo, and I'm like, no, both those games had previews that people really like. Don't do that. It's gonna get drowned out. It's not good, man. And I really want it to be good because there were some really special. Like I had a few of the Battlefield moments. Dun, 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 you know. Like the rocket took off, and we grappled onto the back of it, and we're just flying up through the air, and uh, just really some occasionally like really fun things like that, but man, it's just not there yet, and I don't know whether a month is going to be enough time for it to get there yet. I hope it does. I like Battlefield, and it needs this is a game that needs to be good because Battlefield's already in hot water because the last one was poopy. Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. It was poopy. Uh, and yeah, I'm just sorely disappointed at 2042. I was very excited about that, and then I mean the only way I think they could get around that is if they put it, like, on Game Pass. This is a multiplayer only
Yeah.
game that's not in a good state that you have to pay $60 for. It's bad news all around, man.
When
None of
Halo
it's
is
good.
free.
When
That
Halo's free and is already in, like, a perfectly playable state. Like, it's just
like, not even
I
Game
I I
Pass
hope that
free. It is
I
free.
hope that yeah, it's free. You don't even need Game Pass or nothing. You can play Halo multiplayer for free.
Bad luck.
Um So I really hope I really hope that they can pull it out. I want Battlefield to be good. I'm not trying to doo-doo all
Mhm.
over it. It's just there's some weird design decisions. The balance doesn't feel there yet. The gunplay doesn't feel good. It even again, my PC's no slouch. I had a lot of performance issues. Um, like the graphics just even quite aren't all there yet, and that's kind of what Battlefield's known for. Um,
Yeah.
the weather thing is really cool though. Every time like a tornado came through and stuff and started like picking everybody up and all that's awesome. And the way that the landscape like dynamically changes is really neat. But they gotta fix the combat, man. And then
As
the map design isn't even really great. You end up with these gigantic maps. Now granted they don't have the one mode out where it's like this big zone capture thing, so it's all segmented in these different parts. But the two starting areas are way out over here, and then the rest of the points are all in the middle. So you spend no time out over here and all of it here. And I'm just like, why would you? That's weird. Don't do that. That's strange. Maybe the other maps aren't that way, but you spend more time running or getting to the point to immediately get shot and die and then have to do it all over again. Like they gotta fix it, man.
no,
Mhm.
thank you. As someone who
Yeah.
doesn't play like either of these games, I'm gonna bring up for the record. This just sounds like multiplayer just cause. Because you brought up like weather, and then you brought up like grappling to things, and it was like,
Yeah, the grapple's new and it's fine. It's no Halo grapple. It's no Apex grapple. Which are both excellent, top of the line.
Mhm.
And yeah, the way the thing's new, I actually played the Just Cause 2 multiplayer mod when they made out, and it was chaos. But that was way more fun than Battlefield 2042 was.
oof,
Yeah,
that's
like
not good.
Battlefield's got a long way to go. I think if they delay it further, I think they can get it to where it needs to be. But I'm afraid that they're like, no, we got to get those holiday sales, and I'm like, I wouldn't pay $60 for it, not where it's at right now.
You ready to get first?
Honestly, even if it was good, I don't know that I would pay $60 for it, man. Multiplayer only, that's a hard sell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has to be really good.
Yeah.
That's why I never bought Titanfall 1.
Titanfall 1 was good. Titanfall 1 was real good.
Yeah, that
Played
was a single
Titanfall 2.
player.
Did that surprise anyone? I like that game a lot.
That does surprise me a little bit, and that game's
Yeah.
incredible.
That's a good
Talk
game.
about one of the greatest first-person shooter campaigns of all
Oh,
time.
yeah.
No contest.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
in summation, Halo, great. Battlefield needs work.
Sounds good.
Hoping for
Good
the best.
consensus. Good
Hoping for the
consensus.
best.
Yeah. Awesome. How about you?
Hi, that's me. I have I'm just gonna like rapid fire some things real quick because
Yeah.
I reviewed 2 games for 6-1 semi recently. I reviewed Kenna Bridge of Spirits, which in my review is basically just me saying it's like reminiscent of like action platformers from the early 2000s.
Love
And
that.
it's that just polished. I wouldn't say
Mhm.
it's like the least glitchy game I've ever had. Like I didn't have a lot of problems with it, but there are like dips and frame rates and that kind of stuff. But it never took me out of experience or anything. But that game's great.
Sure.
I bought it. I haven't played it yet.
It doesn't feel like an indie. So I think that's a compliment. Like it just feels like a AAA studio took something with a smaller scope and put it out. Like that's what it feels like.
That's cool.
The
Yeah,
thing
and
that's
it's like I don't know 6 to 8 hours. So like
That's not
you
bad
could
at
probably
all. I like
knock it
that.
out in a weekend if you really wanted to.
yeah.
I've got that
So
on my list. I'm gonna get into that eventually.
It's worth your time. That I
Yeah.
will say, especially for the
Yeah,
lower
for-
price too.
Cool.
yeah, $40
It's on
and
PS4,
it's
right?
yep.
Both.
Cool.
The thing that really got me interested in that was so many people saying like, yes, it's like, the PS2 game but modern kind of thing. But the thing that really got me interested was so many people like saying or equating it to like it reminds them of like Zelda.
Mhm.
Like
There are
Zelda puzzles and all
definitely
that.
Zelda like references or there's a word that's escaping me. There are just
In-
things that
inspiration.
Nods, inspiration.
sure nods those both work. I accept both of those. Thank you. I'm the writer here and this is nothing. But I would say that the Zelda comparisons aren't necessarily in the gameplay. They're more so in like the world they created and how you explore and
Right.
and the puzzles. But
Cool.
the gameplay is more like honestly like a really difficult like Souls game. Like and I don't play
Rad.
Souls games, so I had to knock it down to baby mode eventually. Like I got through half the game on
The only way to
normal,
play games.
which some people even said normal is like way like it should not be called that. Like
I have heard the
it's
bosses are like
difficult.
insanely hard.
Yeah, and then there are some random encounters where like, well, this one isn't random. My example isn't, but there's these things called cursed chests. So you run up, and it says, "Hey, it's a cursed chest. You don't have to do it. You can come back later when you're stronger, or whatever." Blah blah blah. But I always did it right away because I'm dumb and I can't not do it. But some of them like beat 10 enemies in 30 seconds, and on
Jeez.
normal, that's really freaking hard. Because it's not that
Huh.
it's not that these enemies are difficult like to kill. Some of them are like good at blocking, or like they have a shield, or like there's one big tree guy which he needs to go through his cycles for you to get around him and do like shoot him with your bow and stuff. And yeah, so
Yeah.
that's just a crude example of like the difficulty, but
Mhm.
it's not an easy game. So like I really think you should start on normal just to understand what I'm saying for the difficulty. And if you just want to like blaze through it because like you want to experience the game, put it down to baby mode because baby mode isn't like super easy. It just you're not gonna bang your head against the wall when you probably won't fail often unless it's a boss, if that makes sense.
Kind of mode.
Interesting.
What's that, Alec?
My kind of mode.
Yeah,
I
totally.
live the baby ass baby mode. I live it.
Dude, I love it. Play whatever difficulty you want. But since
Yeah.
I was reviewing it, I was like, I'm gonna try to stick this out. I'm gonna stay on normal as long as possible. I got through, I would say, a little over half, and then I'm like, fuck it. Like I'm stuck on this boss. I cannot do this. So it's like I
Yeah.
need to get this done.
That's usually what I do too. Is I try the normal difficulty, and then whenever I just get stuck, I'm just like, nah, screw it.
Yeah.
No.
If I'm playing a game for like the second time, I'll sometimes go on easy just because like I know what to expect and I kind of just want
Right.
to experience it again. But yeah. And the other game I reviewed recently was a game called Teacup, and it's not really our cup of tea, if you will, but it's like
Okay.
it's like a it's like
Great pun.
it's a cute little narrative adventure game where you're a frog and you're looking to gather little tea ingredients and you're just having a good time with your town and it's a celebration and it's very much like the vibes I get are Winnie the Pooh. It reminds me a lot of Winnie the Pooh. Like it looks
I'm
like
here
that.
for it.
You just walk. It's like 2 hours. Honestly, it looks adorable. And here's the thing: this looks like a child's game, and it kind of is. I cried. It got me. I shed a few tears. It's just because literally every single character you run into is extremely admirable. You're just like,
Cool.
oh,
Okay.
why are you amazing? Like, stop. Just I need to walk away. Like every character you meet is just like, oh, I would fight, I would die for you, kind of thing. Yeah, it's worth your time. 2 hours. I think it's like $10. So it's just supporting indies. That's what 6-1 Indie is all about. And this is a game that should be on your radar if you like. I don't know, just like a chill afternoon. You're just wanting because you can get literally complete it in $2 in 2 hours.
And $2 you can complete it.
I recommend it a lot. So Kenna, Teacup out of the way. Life is
Yeah,
Strange, True Colors.
I'm watching a video on it right now. It looks adorable.
It's really cute. Life is Strange, True Colors. So I played this game because I was like, surprisingly, this is my first Life is Strange game. Weird. That's really weird. I know. But the other three or three, four, maybe? I don't even know. Because there's the first one, there's Before the
Before the
Storm,
Storm.
and then there's two. Is there another one I'm
And then
forgetting? Probably
there's the
a DLC thing.
Captain
Oh,
Spirit, the free one.
Adventures of Captain Spirit. Correct.
Yes.
I did play that one, so I guess I lied. And that's like it is a game, but it's not. It's
Right.
2
Yeah.
hours.
Right.
Yeah.
It was something
So Life
before
is
2, if I
Strange.
remember right.
It leads into two because that character's in two.
Gotcha.
All the previous Life is Stranges I experienced through YouTube. I watch YouTubers play those games because they're
Mhm.
very YouTube friendly games. Like it's just you're just playing a movie essentially. It's a very Telltale like, and I enjoyed them. I never loved them. From my experience, and again with the grain of salt, because I didn't physically play the other ones. This is the best Life is Strange game, period. Like
Oh,
it's way less cringy than all the other ones. Like because they're working through the kinks on how to portray characters on screen in this way and portray emotional moments on screen in certain ways. And like two was had a lot of like teenage angst. Blech. And I was just like, I can't. I
Mhm.
love these characters, but you're just not portraying them very well. I see what you're going for. It's just not. I'm not receiving it that way.
sure.
And this game handles that well, and they stay away from it a lot. Like it's not really much about being young. It's more so about just overcoming really serious topics rather than overcoming them as a teenager. Like they don't lean into that angle as much. And I think that's what works for it a lot more. There is a few moments like that, but since they're so far and few in between, I didn't say that right, but you know what I mean. It doesn't really take away from the experience at all. But this is quality wise, I think easily the best Life is Strange, and I think anyone who has played all of them will say the same thing because I think it might be the highest rated one. It's like an 8.5 on Metacritic or whatever, something like that. Maybe lower now.
Would you say that you need to have played the other ones in order to enjoy this one?
No, there's hardly any references. I would say I
Cool.
like let's say between 2 and 1, the only like real reason is that there's a recurring character, but
Okay.
like you don't if you haven't played the first one and that character pops up in two, it's just gonna be like another character for you. It's not gonna be anything. But if you
Gotcha.
played one and you see him in two, you're like, oh shit, he's doing all right. That's cool. And then it's a complete shift because he's just doing something completely different that you wouldn't have seen before. But yeah,
Neat. All right. Cool. Good to know.
I suggest it. It's a cool like if you wanted to play like with your significant other or with some friends, just pass the controller back and forth because you're literally
Mhm.
just walking and pressing buttons to choose and yeah. And there's a really cool segment of gameplay where you're playing essentially like a LARP and they turn that
Cool.
into kind of like a
That's cool.
turn-based combat thing, and it's really cool. It
I
doesn't
know they
last
did
too long, but
a
it's a really cool
D&D
segment.
thing in Before the Storm.
Yeah, it is a lot like that. It's different, but concept-wise, yeah, right
Mhm.
there, totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's worth your time. It's a good like just have a beer and play a chill game, chill with serious topics. But you understand, chill in the way
Yeah.
where they're not asking a lot of you gameplay-wise.
It's not
Yeah.
a more active game.
Yeah.
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 And my last one, I don't remember if I talked about this. I have one more game or two more games we can get to like later, unless I'm just gonna keep ranting. But Psychonauts 2, I don't know. I don't remember if I talked about this last time, but that's just a fun action platformer, like kind of like Kana. And Psychonauts
Mhm.
2, I didn't play the first one. I don't think you have to play the first one. There are a few things where I'm like, I have no idea what's going on.
I would recommend
But
playing the first one just because it's good.
yes, but I don't think I missed any of the enjoyment of the game by not playing the first one. I just think I didn't
Yeah.
understand who this character was to its fullest potential. I understand. Oh, you're his mom. Oh, you're his dad. Oh, you
Yeah.
know this
Yeah. Yeah.
guy. Kind of
I
thing.
think they do a good job of explaining what happened in the first one.
Now, because of that, because they assume people haven't played the first one, maybe not. Maybe that's not right. Coin a term. Not maybe not assuming that, but they do have a lot of storytelling in that way, kind of like
Mhm.
backtracking.
Mm.
But so that is a little kind of like news ridden. You're like, okay, I get it. You're trying to give me the backstory. I get it. I get it. I know it has to be here, and there's a lot of that. But other than that, that game's just fun. It's polished too. I didn't have any problems with it. Like that's just a
Yeah.
polished, like it's kind of like Kano, where it looks like a polished AAA game, but indie roots kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I think it's worth your time.
Psychonauts
It's
is good.
it's in a lot of people's game of the year discussions. It's not in mine, but I just think it's not really the type of game for me to be in the game of the year. So I just think it's worth
Mhm.
clarifying. I think it's
Fair.
polished to all hell, and the portals in that game are really freaking cool. Have you seen videos of those portals where you just like you walk through one environment for a little hole and you turn around and there's just a whole nother world and it's just there's no transition. It's just you're in there.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's
There's just
really
two
neat.
separate worlds being rendered at the same time. Basically, it's really cool. Like it's basically what Ratchet and Clank promised, but better.
Mhm.
Honestly, so, yeah.
That's cool.
I played a game called Kind of Funny. Played Kiwi on stream months ago, maybe.
Mhm.
Maybe weeks ago. I'm not sure, but it's just there's two little kiwis in like a mailroom, and you're doing these things together with the co-op, and you're just jumping on paddles and spelling things, and it's very Overcooked esque. Like it has that kind of feel to it.
Mhm.
I would say it's way less stressful. So I think it might be like the perfect type of game like that, where it's like it's a little stressful because like you're timed, but it's not difficult at all. So playing that with my girlfriend, she likes it. I think. Haven't heard anything. Okay, she must like it. So yeah, I'm enjoying that. Cool co-op game. It's only like $25, I think. I think it's worth her time as well.
I've heard good things about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cute too. And
I'm looking at it right now. This
their
looks great.
their names are Jeff and Deborah. I'm like, yes.
That's
It's
awesome.
so good. Like there's one thing where you have to like do a little letter, like you kind of like sit on a thing to get certain letters, then you run to the
Mhm.
little letter and you sit on it to like paste that on the paper, then you run and get the other letters, and then you have to put that on an ostrich so the ostrich will run the letter, but you have to distract the ostrich first. You have to feed the ostrich so it's distracted so you can tie the letter on the back, and yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's just a stupid fun game.
I love this.
Um
It looks great.
yeah, and then the last one is a game called Eastward. Eastward is a game that was on
Mhm.
one of the Nintendo Directs, I want to
Mhm.
say 2 months ago, 3 months
Yeah,
ago.
one
I
of
don't
the
remember.
indie worlds. Yeah.
Yes, and I haven't put hardly any time into that. I just wanted to mention it here because it's like the next game I'm gonna play, kind of a thing.
Yep.
But that game looks cool. It should be on your radar. That's pretty much all I can say. It's by Chucklefish. So if you know
Oh
Chucklefish,
yeah.
then you'll be like, cool. Probably quality. So
Mhm.
really gorgeous pixel art too. It's an action adventure game. Okay, I think
That's
I'm done with my games. I think I'm done. That was a lot. I
all right.
apologize.
Yep. No worries. I'll say I got more just this TV shows and like content I've been watching. Just gonna
I have
rapid
two.
fire.
Sure.
Um, I finished watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That series is over.
E-
Woo!
It's 8 seasons and it is great. I cannot recommend that show enough. It it hits all the feels. It is hilarious. Like, yeah. Yeah, Andy
I
Samberg, Terry Crews, like, yeah, come on.
Yeah, it's excellent. It's
And the Captain
wait,
Holt, like, you love, like, oh, he goes through
Captain
such a
Holt,
character arc.
greatest character.
Seriously, yeah.
I think
And
comedies
and it's
just
and it's
aren't my
just
thing.
it's just whip fast, like with the style of comedy it is too. Because I mean, and
Yeah.
I would expect nothing less because I believe Andy Samberg is also like the showrunner. Like
Yeah.
it's his show.
Mm.
And so like the comedy is really excellent. Really, it's what I like to call like the stupid witty. Like the jokes are stupid, but they're also witty in lots of
Yeah.
ways. And so it's not dumb It's not like stupid humor, but it is kind of dumb, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
Uh,
It was that
and
perfect show to have on
but it
just,
also handles like the heavier stuff pretty well though too. Like
oh yeah, like
it can get emotional when it wants to.
they literally had an episode where Terry Crews, like his character, got uh
Racially
not pulled
profiled.
over, but racially profiled, yeah. Just for he was out in his like sweats and his sweatshirt and he's just like grabbing a toy from that his kids like lost that flew out of a van. Out of their
Mhm.
van. And a cop like profiled him. It's like,
Arrested him, I believe.
oh yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they didn't believe
He
that
didn't have his
he
badge. Yeah.
was yeah, he didn't have his badge. They didn't believe that he was a cop.
Not only did he not do
And that was
anything
a whole
wrong, he's a
episode.
cop. Like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so that was a whole episode. That
ugh.
one that's a heavy one.
That's a heavy one, yeah. But
It's so weird. Sorry, it's so
yeah.
weird because growing up, I was a huge like every Will Ferrell movie I would watch and I would love because
Mhm.
that's just at that age, like it was just the best thing on
Right,
earth,
yeah.
basically. Step Brothers, like, come on.
So it was a great
Um,
Mhm.
movie.
but for some reason, I think it's because I'm more of I have like a writer's lens now on things. I just really like dramas. Like
Yeah.
comedies bore
Yeah.
me now. Like I can't sit there and like the comfort food thing about it. doesn't hit me. So I think I like well written series more
This
so
is
now, and they appeal to me
this is
more.
also something that I was actually talking with my coworkers about not too long ago, because we were going through a bunch of a bunch of old comedies and stuff lately. Like I think like mostly like Paul Rudd movies. Like There's Something About Mary and a bunch of other things. I think I brought up like 21 Jump Street and all these, and it's like there's a lot of comedies that hold up really really well. A lot of them nowadays like kind of super don't when you look at like the late 90s,
Mhm.
early 2000s stuff. But there's just not a lot of like at least in terms of films, there's not a lot of comedies really being made anymore. It's like I
Right,
can't remember
yeah.
I can't remember the last trailer I saw for a comedy movie.
Probably that Kevin Hart movie where he
Yeah,
like
that isn't something like schlocky and stupid though. You know what I mean.
sure.
I'm talking about like these really intentional comedies, like 21 Jump
Free
Street.
Guy?
I view as like the golden standard
It probably was that last flop that Will Ferrell was in, that Sherlock Holmes movie
of
a
that
few
movie.
years ago.
Yeah, I heard that one was real bad. Weren't people walking out of the theaters?
Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah,
seen it, but
I haven't
Mhm.
either, but I heard it was terrible.
Same.
Um,
maybe society just moved on. Like maybe we're just as a whole like it's comfort food, but
like
like
from comedy movies,
not on
yeah,
the front
it's
anymore.
to the point where I think comedies have managed to find their way to. I think they've just found a home in series.
Hmm.
To the point
Yeah.
where I mean, you look at like Ted Lasso, which is a comedy, but it's also got there's lots of drama there. There's lots of really really like introspective stuff going on. To where I don't think you don't see a lot of like just plain comedies anymore. There's always kind of something extra, but I think Brooklyn Nine-Nine does that extremely well. Very well written
And
show.
it's literally like for me, it was that show I'd watch an episode or two before bed. Like just that kind of perfect,
Yeah,
just chill, just
it's a great bedtime show.
mellow from the day and just
Hmm.
get in that mindset of getting ready for bed. But the other one I just
That's been New Girl for me recently.
okay. That's up on my radar too. I need to get into
I've
that.
watched the first like 4 seasons of New girl. Never loved it. It's like it's good.
Mhm.
I know. I just don't think they're for me. Like I think I'm just not the
Yeah.
target audience.
But the other show I've gotten into recently, and I've only got 3 episodes left, is Cowboy Bebop, and
Woo!
I've
That's what I'm
really been
talking about,
like,
baby.
I've really
He
been
hasn't,
liking it.
Alec hasn't shut up about Cowboy Bebop, for the record.
I barely talked about it. It feels
Yeah,
like,
but
but
like every day in the chat, you're like, "Cowboy, I'm watching Cowboy Bebop. I'm relaxing and watching Cowboy Bebop tonight." Kind of, Chris, help me out here.
No, he really has.
okay, it feels like
You've
I haven't
mentioned it a
talked that
lot.
much about it.
You've
But
mentioned it a
I mean,
lot.
that's true. Okay. Anyway,
Not in detail,
um,
but just brought up the
Not
name.
in detail. You just brought up the fact, hey, you know, I'm watching. I'm this many episodes in. I really like this thing. Like you've I think you've
mhm,
talked about it more than you've realized. You know why?
okay,
Thank you.
Because it's a really fucking good show.
Yeah,
it
maybe
really
rightfully
is
so. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just like, come on, you've been
Fix
doing
your
these
life
things.
if you haven't seen Cowboy Bebop.
like I
Okay, I've
have.
seen it. The first 3 episodes, like
I
three
know
separate
I'm
times.
not. This is not directed at you, Austin.
It felt like.
Why don't you relax? Why don't you take a breath? Water, maybe. Just it's no hope for you. Uh,
Anyway,
Cowboy Bebop, real fucking good. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. Like every time I get a
yes,
text from you, I'm like, yeah, he got to this part. I love that. That's so great. But
yeah. So one thing I have kind of realized is that it's the thing I'm kind of maybe missing from like shows that have kind of evolved because it is from the late '90s.
yes,
One thing I kind of have liked is it's like the continuous story. It feels like it's kind of just not quite an you know enemy of the week kind of a thing, but it
no,
feels to me like it's kind of that. Like there's a few episodes that kind of have some through lines, like with Vicious, but
mhm.
it's not like a My Hero Academia where it's like a continuous story.
No, yeah, it's like it is, but it isn't. If
Right?
that
Yeah.
kind of makes any sense, it's like there is a storyline, but it's not all necessarily like one continuous thing. If that, but it is kind of. It's hard to explain.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's a little
Well,
hard to explain.
I'm enjoying it. So it like the animation still holds up. Steve Bloom is incredible. Yeah. So and just in terms of like YouTube stuff I've been watching, MKBHD like they did a really cool video a while back. So he's like one of the biggest tech YouTubers, if not
Mhm.
the biggest. Because they released they actually started a new channel called The Studio, which is their like behind the scenes channel.
Nice.
And what was really cool is he's got millions and millions of subscribers. He still edits his own videos.
Very cool.
Like that is awesome. Like so many of those bigger channels, like they have so many editors to do that thing for him, but he still has hands on in that process, which I think is
Is
amazing.
that because he likes it so much, or is that because he's good at it, or both?
But
Okay.
yeah, because he's if you've watched his videos, you know like those videos are crisp. Like they look good, they sound good. The animations, I mean, granted, he doesn't do like all that stuff, but he edits it all together. But he had there's a like there's normal like YouTube and tech YouTube stuff, and then there's MKBHD. Like
Neat.
he just takes it to another level. But one of the videos that I really liked that he did recently was basically doing a road trip comparison of a gas car, a Tesla, and an electric car, and just over 1,000 mile road trip. How do they compare?
Sounds like an episode of Top Gear.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, he does talk about Top Gear a lot, but
Or no,
the
I'm sorry,
not
the Grand Tour. No.
right, but not necessarily on that video, but in other
Yeah.
like podcasts and videos
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
he's talked about it. And but it was really cool, just like because like I know almost nothing about electric cars, and that was really kind of eye opening to see, like to that experience. So
Mhm.
I'd say go check that out. And then there's 2 behind the scenes videos because they did a 2-day. It's 1,000 mile road trip, so you get 2 like 30-minute behind the scenes vlogs of it.
Cool.
So
I love a good behind the scenes vlog.
I just like well edited vlogs. So when they pick the right music, for those little
oh yeah,
moments in between.
You got to hit the
Yeah,
vibe.
yeah. I was just gonna
oh
say I'm vibing
he's
with this.
hit the
All right.
vibe.
Yeah.
So I'll send the link to you guys later. But yeah, it's
Yeah, I'd
it's
like to
good
check
stuff.
that out.
So search MKBHD. He's got great content, and he has a very good podcast, the Waveform podcast. So
Shout
yeah.
out.
Chris, I know you said you had a couple things if you wanted to rapid fire.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'll just stick with the one. Would you guys believe me if I told you that I've been watching a Halo content creator?
Not at
Never.
all.
You?
Not once, right? Yeah, never. So this is somebody I've mentioned on stream before, and I retweet his stuff all the time. He's his account is called The Shy Way. He actually
Mhm.
works as a commentator for the Halo Championship Series, and he's like a
Cool.
streamer and YouTuber on top of that. And he is, I think, one like the single best Halo like analyst in the entire game. He'll have entire videos breaking down like 5 minutes of footage and explaining exactly what's going on and why and all these things. Like I remember when the first like E3 trailer, like multiplayer trailer came out that we reacted to. I went and watched his reaction, and he'd pause and stop, and he'd see like there's just this one little tiny part where this dude's sprinting and then fires the battle rifle, and it's the only time that you see somebody fire out of sprint, but he noticed how fast it was, and he's like, wow, like the fact that you can it looks like you can fire out of sprint like almost instantly, and talked about how that was going to affect gameplay. And then the flight came, and I was like, wow, you can shoot out of sprint like that fast. It was exactly like what he said. He's got videos where he'll pull up a video of professionals playing and do like this almost like sports center style breakdown of exactly like what the pro's thinking, why he's making the choices that he's doing, and how it affects like him and his teammates, and all of these other things that he's got like again like these almost like professional like sports style animations that show that you get like these arrows that where it's like if he were to throw a grenade over here, so it would land in this area to cover this because he knows like these enemies are coming, or like highlight where his teammates are at to show like how they're controlling spawns, all of these things. I can't recommend it enough, and he breaks down Halo in a way to a point where you don't have to be super into the game to understand what he does. He explains it very plainly and informatively, and does all that stuff very well. He's extremely well spoken. If you had to start out, honestly, just whatever he's got that he's most recently put out is just the place to dive in. I'd highly recommend going and looking through all of his Halo Infinite videos. The most recent one he did was actually like this sort of response to some comments that he got when he posted like a YouTube short of him talking about like, wow, Halo Infinite's movement is crazy. And then all the Titanfall fans came out of the woodwork and like, whatever, this movement ain't nothing. And then he made a whole video on it. He's like, actually, this is why Halo Infinite's movement is even more involved than Titanfall's, and explain it in a way without like shitting on Titanfall or anything.
Mhm.
He's just like, no, like the way that the game operates and the way that gunplay is different than Titanfall is actually makes Halo's movement much more complicated and does all these things, and it's fascinating. I got turned on to his stuff by Corey Cudney, who we once featured on an episode of The Grind. If you haven't seen that, please go watch that. Um, and I've learned so much just about how to play Halo just by watching his videos. Like, not only are they entertaining, I feel like I'm getting better at the game by watching them. And it's not even like a here's how to do these things and get better at these things. So you just pick up on these strategies and these little things that he points out that have just become part of the way that I play Halo. It's really cool. I can't recommend him enough. Cannot recommend enough. If you're all at all looking forward to Halo Infinite, go check out his stuff. It's very, very good.
High praise.
And Austin,
Yeah,
what's your round of-
best Halo
Oh,
YouTuber out there, no question,
nice.
no question.
Austin, how about you round us out?
No YouTubers. I just watch Kind of Funny. So like, I mean, everyone knows them
Yep.
here that watch our stuff.
Shout
Probably.
out.
That shout out. Yeah, they need it. I watch Squid Games. I'm sure everyone at least knows what that is at this point. I watched
I've
that in
heard
like
of
a
it. I
I'm
day.
haven't
dying to
watched it.
watch that.
I watched it in like a
Dying to
day.
watch it.
The way I won't go into depth about it, but the way I described it, like in a previous meeting with everyone at Waypoint, is like it is the best live action anime I've ever seen. It's
Cool.
not based on an anime, like it's not what it is, but like just the way scenes are portrayed and the actual actions and the actual things they're doing. It's the best live action anime I've ever seen.
Like, I
And
know it's a Korean show. I did get very anime vibes from it when I watched the trailer. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
it could have been like a manga. I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe he got a lot of inspiration from one or something. I have no idea.
I know he's very inspired by the movie Battle Royale.
Shocker.
Yeah, right. And
Who would've
I
thought?
saw some people being like, it's just Korean Hunger Games or whatever. But then somebody pointed out, I was like, actually, he's been working on this movie since before Hunger Games came out. But I mean, it's Korean cinema, and it was harder to get like released in the US and
Mhm.
these things. And so it's like, imagine doing that before Hunger Games and then getting clowned on for copying it when he technically did it first.
Right. Yeah. Apparently he got denied for like 10 years and then
Yeah.
finally got
Oh,
someone to
wow.
be like, fine, we'll make your stupid show. And then it
Yeah.
blows up. It blows up. And
That's
rightfully so.
cool.
I will say, there are a bunch of like cliche elements to it. Don't ask me to go for an example because
No, I
I'll
don't
just,
want to.
I'll
Yeah.
butcher it.
Yep.
But a lot of anime is cliche, in my opinion. It's
Yes.
very like emotional
Mhm.
moment, dope fight, emotional moment, or
Yeah.
dope sport
And
moment.
I
You know what I
am
mean?
here for it.
Yeah.
It's like,
100%.
but the friends you make along the way, that kind of thing. It's there's
Yep.
a bunch of those moments, but they never stay too long. They never feed into it enough to where it like affects the overall feel of the piece. Like the
Cool.
feel of the piece is like if you're here because you have no other option, and you will try not to die. Like that. That's the feel, and it's
Like,
like
nothing overstays its welcome.
yeah, and it works. Like I'm that coupled with tone, like it's complementary to the overall tone is what I'm saying. Like it never
Yeah.
feels out
Mhm.
of place enough to where you're like, "Ee," like that was a bit
Yeah.
odd kind of thing. But that never happened. But there
Yeah.
are a bunch of those moments. I just want to put that out there.
It's really cool to see it blow up as much as it had. My wife actually lived in South Korea for a few years and got really attached to like K dramas and that sort of thing. And Netflix over the last couple of years has taken a huge interest in K dramas, and there's a lot of them there for anybody that's interested in that sort of thing. So my wife has them on TV all the time. A lot of the times when I'm recording or streaming, that's what she's watching. Um, so you there's a good chance my mic might have picked up some of it over the last year or so, but
It's funny.
anytime you bring that with friends or whatever, they're like Korean TV, like that's so weird, and it's so cool to finally see something from South Korea like really blow up in a big way like this, and
Mhm.
I kind of feel like I've been trying to tell you, like they make some good shit, man. So yeah, it's cool to see. I'm excited to watch it. I think I'm gonna carve out some time next week now that my work schedule has eased up because the last month for me has been insane. So that's why I don't have a whole lot to bring to
Same.
the table, unfortunately, this time. So I'm excited to catch up on Squid Game. It looks really cool.
I'm a busy lad too, but I just took a day off to do nothing, and all I did is watch Squid Game. And
Hell
Squid Game,
yeah.
whatever it is, it's dope. It's worth your time. I will just to touch on the cliche moment one more time, and then we'll move on to my last show. For the two major plot, maybe three major plot twists, I all called like from episode two. Like
Okay.
it's one of those things where you know you know what's gonna happen,
Mhm.
and then you see it happen, and it's not a great payoff, but it's not terrible, and you're just there for like the bulk of the show and the tone of the show, like the plot points are never what, or
Right.
they're never gonna blow you
Mhm.
away. But it's just an overall quality show, is what I would say. I
Cool.
enjoyed it.
Cool. Down with
Watched
that.
I mean, I watched it in a day. It was one of those things where I kept next episode. I can't
Yeah.
have I eaten anything in the last 4 hours? Like I don't know. And then so yeah, and then I started Superman and Lois. Which I
Oh.
just it's very CW, which I know is very negative. I'm
All
a
right, I'm out.
sucker. I'm one of the very few people who like CW shows. They're terrible. I kind
Yes.
of like them
All
as a
right.
writer. I like. It's mostly I love what you're doing. You're not executing it
Sure.
well, but I love
Mhm.
what you're trying to do, and
On
that's
paper, this is
exactly
great. Yeah.
it's a Superman drama. Like there
Which is
are
rad.
exactly there are
Yeah.
action points, but like it's more of a drama about him being Superman and how that affects his family, which we've seen 1,000 times, but they're
That
like
sounds so
really
cool,
diving
though.
into it. But again, it's very CW.
I'm
So
okay.
like,
I'm okay with that. So, as a Superman fan, the Superman is my favorite DC character.
mm,
Would I like this show? Do you think?
are you okay with like subtle changes to Superman lore?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then yeah,
I
because
was yeah. I even liked Man of Steel. So I mean, yeah, hit me with whatever.
I liked Man of Steel too. I was like, this is a Dragon Ball movie. Like this is an awesome
It
Dragon Ball
was
movie.
a Dragon Ball movie,
Yeah,
100%. That
yeah.
was my thought.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, I think you should watch it if you have the time. I can totally see it being like one episode every few days. Like it's not gonna
Cool.
blow you away. It's not gonna. You might even find an episode where you're like, that wasn't that great, but there'll be one little tinge where you're like, I see what they're going.
Like a
I
little
see what
thing.
they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Little,
think it's worth your
little,
time if
little comfort
you
food.
like
Is it
Superman.
on HBO
I think I think so.
or do
It's
I
a,
have to get the DC
it's
thing?
either HBO Max or Hulu. I just can't remember which one.
Okay, cool.
It might be both, honestly.
I have both, so
Yeah, it's
I
good.
just
I
want to
like
make sure
it.
I want to
It's
watch it.
not
I'll check
great.
it out. I'll add it to my list.
Yeah, comfort food. I would say
Nice.
that's my equivalent to comfort food.
I'm
And,
al-
and of
I'm
course,
I can see
I'm
that.
always looking to eat.
and of course, it's a drama, which I was getting into where comedy just isn't my comfort food anymore. I don't understand.
Mhm.
But that's it. I think I covered everything.
Yeah.
My menagerie. Yeah.
I know something before we wrap up. I think I texted this to Chris, but it's like all my shows are ending. Like, What If ended this week. Ted Lasso ends this week. My Hero Academia season 5 dub ends this week. Like,
Oh, I should touch on that real quick because I have fallen off anime just because I'm so busy. Like I'm
mhm.
one of those few people who still watch One Piece, but I haven't watched in like a few months because I'm
Uh-oh.
so goddamn busy. But I
Uh-oh.
was up to date. I know, which is bad for One Piece if you understand what I'm saying.
Yep.
And so I've fallen off MHA as well. So I'm probably I want
Season
to
5
say
is so
Alec.
good.
I always wait for the dub to finish before I watch because I read the manga. So
Sure.
I'm way ahead of where the show's at.
I
So
want to
I'm
say
gonna
I'm like
start reading
5
them.
episodes back on MHA, maybe around there, 4 or
Mhm.
5. So the last
it
thing I
gets
remember
it
is
only gets better.
the very beginning of like My Villain Academia being a thing.
Yeah.
Very
Does
cool.
that make
Dude, you're
sense?
gonna love these episodes. They're
Yeah,
so
but
good.
I think the
And I
last
mean,
thing
honestly, it only gets better from there, dude. Like I'm so impressed with the manga and how it is.
Oh,
Like
I can't
Sure.
wait.
it's
Slight,
wild.
Can't wait.
slight spoiler warning. Slight spoiler warning. The last thing I remember is I can't remember their names, but twice
Mhm.
Yep.
witnesses the chick who like
Toga.
needs thank you like being injured and then the episode
Yep.
ends kind of a thing. That's
Oh,
the last thing I
yeah.
remember.
Oh, the next. Oh, you're gonna love the
I
next
was about
one.
to say it gets real good immediately after that.
I don't know.
And also, it's like again, I'm sorry I didn't have much to offer this episode. What I have been
I had
watching
too
is Ted
much.
Lasso, but we're doing a spoiler cast on that, so
Oh,
I
and
Next
didn't want
week.
to.
and Midnight Mass. I don't know if we
Fuck, I need to watch
said
Midnight Mass
anything
too. I'm
about
adding that
that,
to my
but
list.
I also watched Midnight Mass, but I'm holding that back for the spoiler cast because I know Lee Aaron wants to do one of those as well.
Yeah.
I also
So
need to do that.
look forward to more spoiler casts. So we got Midnight Mass spoiler cast and Ted Lasso spoiler cast coming up.
I love doing spoiler casts; they're so fun.
Yeah, agreed.
We are gonna gush about Ted Lasso, so stay tuned.
Woo! I sit on.
So good.
I don't think it's as good as season 1. Just saying.
Ooh.
Just saying.
So we're gonna be
We're gonna
fighting.
fight.
Okay.
You see some of these biceps? I had to bring it back at the end of the show. I had to bring it back.
Going full circle.
You want to fucking go? I love
And
it.
we're gonna leave you guys with that. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment what you've been watching or playing, and we'll see you guys at the next Waypoint.